Real quickly, before I start this video, I'm going to say this just so we get this out of the way. I don't have to bring it up later. Forza Horizon, Forza, same game. I know Phil Spencer, he stated last year in an interview that he made it sound like Forza Horizon and Forza are two separate games because he stated in an interview with IGN that they've got two games right now, Forza Horizon and Forza, two racing games right now. But no, it's the same game. Forza's in the title. It's Forza. Okay? Modern Warfare is still Call of Duty, just like Horizon's still Forza. It's Forza. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we have another Forza game coming out called Forza Horizon 2, coming set for later this year in 2014. So I just want to do the math here real quick. So we've got, if you look back of all the Forza games, to this year 2014, Forza Horizon 2. Last year, Forza 5. 2012, Forza Horizon. 2011, Forza 4. So counting this year, that's going to be 4 years in a row with four different Forzas. Now, if you go back even further, back in '09, we had Forza 3. In '07, we had Forza 2. In '05, we had Forza. So if you count all those years up, that's 10 years total since '05. We've had seven different Forzas in 10 years. Now, where am I going with this? Well, if you just quiet down a little bit, I'll tell you. We need Project Gotham Racing back. That's that. I'm going to say it right now. That's a racing game under their belt that they could put out there, and then they could be like Sony. Sony's got Drive Club if that ever comes out, and they've also got Gran Turismo. They could have two different racing titles. They could have Forza, and they could have Project Gotham Racing. Now, here's where the difference is. Some people think Forza and Project Gotham Racing are similar. They are similar, but there's differences. If you've played the two games, you'll know that Project Gotham Racing is a little bit more arcade style than Forza, not as realistic. That and you don't upgrade cards and cars in Project Gotham Racing like you do in Forza. That and for Project Gotham Racing has this thing called Kudo points, where when you do perform stunts like passing a opponent or sliding around a turn, you build up points and the longer the stunt is, the more points you build up. But let's say like you bump into a rail while doing it, the points disappear. But so they got that too. So really, Project Gotham Racing focuses more on the skill of the individual player than it does like building up your car. It does on the relying on the car's performance. It relies more on the player's performance. So that's the difference. Now I'll give you a little history. This is where back in 2000, I'm going to show you where back in 2010 where this could have worked out to bring back a Project Gotham Racing. Now, back in 2000, there's actually 5 games. There's only 4 Project Gotham Racings, but there's actually 5 games in the Project Gotham Racing's franchise. They changed names. The first one, first of all, the game was made by Bizarre Creations, and back in November of 2000, Bizarre Creations made a game for the Sega Dreamcast called Metropolis Street Racer. And no, it has nothing to do with DC comic superheroes, Superman and Batman. I know Metropolis and Gotham, people are going to be like, oh, the Superman and Batman. No, Bizarre Creations stated that it had nothing to do with them. I know. I don't know. But yes, it had nothing to do with them. So back in November of 2000, Bizarre Creations released a game called Metropolis Street Racer for the Sega Dreamcast. Obviously, the Sega Dreamcast tanked, and they made a deal out with Xbox to make a game in 2001, Project Gotham Racing 1. It did pretty good, so they made another one in '03 called, Project Gotham Racing 2. Those were for the original Xboxes. Now the Xbox 360 came around, and they made a release game for the 360 called Project Gotham Racing 3 in '05, and then they made the last Project Gotham Racing in '07, Project Gotham Racing 4. That was the last work that was the last Project Gotham Racing there was, and that was the last work Bizarre Creations did for Xbox because they were bought out by Activision in '07, in September of '07. Now, the last racing game Bizarre Creations made was back in 2010. They released a game called Blur, which is kind of like Need for Speed meets Mario Kart. I haven't played it, but it looks decent. That was their last racing game. And after that, they made a game also in 2010 called James Bond 007 Bloodstone. And since then, they were released from Activision. They were canned. They were looking to be sold, but no one wanted them. And that was in 2010. So remember that date. In 2010, Activision canned them. Now, back to Microsoft. In 2010, there was rumors that Microsoft was talking to third-party developers about bringing back Project Gotham Racing. So there you go. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. 2010, they were talking to third-party developers about bringing back Project Gotham Racing. In 2010, Bizarre Creations got canned. You can't tell me they didn't talk to Bizarre Creations about, possibly bringing it back. I mean, they're the creators, for crying out loud. It obviously didn't work out because we didn't get another Project Gotham Racing. But since then, Project Bizarre Creations, I don't think they're around anymore. I think they disbanded. There's nothing going on there. So pretty much that was the best chance of there being a Project Gotham Racing. So in that interview with Phil Spencer had that interview with IGN's Dave Cook, he said that was last year, 2013. He talked about bringing back Project Gotham Racing, and Dave Cook brought it up, and Phil Spencer said it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for the Project Gotham Racing series. It's uncertain. It's not really in Project Gotham Racing's favor for it to come back because of the market right now has so many racing games. Now, I can see where he's coming from because, other than the Forza series, which they own, they've got to, help out EA and they've got to help out Ubisoft, keep them happy so the Crew and Need for Speed, which comes out every year, will make some sales. So I can kind of see where he's coming from. And then they've got Forza that they want to make money too. But they could do what they did near the end of Xbox 360's life cycle, where they released the Gears, and then they released the Halo. Released the Gears, and then released the Halo. I know those are two different games, but that was two titles that they planned on releasing, one every other year. And Turn 10, right now, they've been working on a racing game every year. They've made Forza last year. Now they're working on Forza Horizon 2 this year. So they could easily do one game this year and then the next game the next year. Turn 10 could make a Forza game one year and then make a Project Gotham Racing game the next year. They're already proven that they can make a game every year. So there would be nothing against them trying to work on a Project Gotham Racing game every other year alongside Forza. So that could really work out. I don't know why he makes it sound like the market has anything to do with it, because it's not like they're not releasing a Forza game every year. Maybe take a break every other year and release a Project Gotham Racing game instead. That, and at the end of the interview, he said maybe. So he's not throwing out for a Project Gotham Racing game, but he said it's uncertain. It's not looking good, but he said maybe. So it sounds like he wants it to come back, because since he's been there, working there, they brought back Killer Instinct, they brought back Crimson Dragon, obviously a Panzer Dragon wannabe, and now they're bringing back Phantom Dust. So he's been good at bringing back cult classics. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen under him, mark my words. So that's just one of the few Xbox original games I'd like to see make it back onto the Xbox One. If you agree or disagree, leave comments. I'm going to talk about more Xbox original games in upcoming videos about what I think need to come back. But for this one, it's just pure Project Gotham Racing. So that's it for now. Leave any comments that if I left anything out, I'm going to have my sources posted below. If just in case I left something out and you guys want to learn more. So that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in.